One of my biggest objectives as a parent is to help my kids discover what it is that they really love. Like what really captures their interest. I'm not talking about like games and screwing around. I'm talking about kids have a incredible capacity to be curious and to be fascinated by things. And it's really sad to see that wane with kids as they get older and get more and more useless garbage shoved down their throats that's not going to benefit them whatsoever, that doesn't interest them at all, that somebody thinks that they have to learn, when there's so many examples of exceptional people who have done great things for society, who did so because they discovered and pursued that which really interests them. You know, if it comes down to us providing value to society, the best way that we're going to be able to do that is by doing something that we love to do. I'm convinced that there's people that are the tops of big companies that would be better suited for much more menial tasks because they're miserable in what they're doing, and they're chasing after the status and all that stuff, and they're miserable because of it, because it's not really meaningful for them. And so my kids, you know, I'm naturally entrepreneurial. I've been entrepreneurial since I was a little kid, and I remember 9 years old sitting there on the side of my bed thinking about my parents, thinking about all my friends' parents who were miserable, doing stuff they couldn't stand 5 days a week, 6 days a week, just to pay the bills. And I remember saying to myself, I will never do what these people do. And that's been a huge motivator for me ever since. And even though I'm geared that way, you know, I don't care. I have zero concern as to whether or not my kids go to school, go to like an elite college. Some of these parents, I think our generation is changing, but the older generation still is all obsessed about where their kids go. Why? For bragging rights. That's garbage. That's absolute garbage. Living your dreams vicariously through your children is absolute garbage. So, you know, as an entrepreneur, I want my kids to be entrepreneurs. But if they're not, I'm okay with that. If one of my kids grows up and decides, you know, they want to be a musician and they can be the best busker in the city, and they can look after themselves, like they can provide what they need for their life, and they're happy doing that, and they're living off of just enough, I'm totally fine with that, because they're going to be happier and they're going to provide more value to people that way, and they're going to be happier people, which is going to benefit everybody else around them versus being miserable like so many people because they're doing something they can't stand. So I encourage my kids to find out what it is they love to do. That's a huge goal for me, even though my oldest is only 5. I don't know how to do it yet. I'm working my way there. Thankfully, I have a lot of people in my life who are older, more experienced, and who can guide me, which is a big thing. But I would encourage you to do the same. But you also have to be practicing that if you want to do it, because it's risky. The easy path is just doing what everybody else does. And it's certainly by no means the happy path. I don't know many people who are genuinely happy, because it's just a life of security. It's a life of stagnation. It's a life of treading water, not constantly progressing, challenging yourself, taking risks, and doing something different than the rest of the herd. But your kids will thank you for it. So help them find what it is that makes them tick and interest them. Don't live your life, your dreams vicariously through your children. Help them discover what really interests them and makes them tick.